This is Mike Franklin, the property tax guy, and today I'm going to review my lawsuit against the city of Syracuse. Right now I'm in the New York State e-file. You just Google NYS e-file and click on the link, and you can, on the left-hand side, you can search as a guest, and you can pick, just put in my name and Onondaga County, and it'll come up just like this. And So basically the case is City of Syracuse. I did a Freedom of Information Act request for a comparable sales report, comparable assessment report, cost valuation report for the subject property, and cost valuation reports for each property that the system, the comparable sales report or comparable assessment report, reported as comparables. And they continuously evade me and obstruct me. So I had to sue them. Before I went to the bar hearing, about 15 minutes before, I asked for it again, and they finally gave me the comparable sales report. But they, even though it had been weeks since I asked for it, but they wouldn't give me the other reports. They seem to think that if they don't use the report, they don't have to provide it. And, whether they use it or not, if they have it, they need to provide it. So this time we got an attorney. I had the same lawsuit 3 years ago, and I thought it was resolved, but apparently not. They're making different arguments, claiming it's not the same thing, but it is. But anyway, here's the petition, and it just makes their whole argument. All of our exhibits, and anyway, it goes on and on. So you can read the whole petition. And my attorney did an order to show cause to expedite the matter because we needed to get the data in time for the SCAR hearing for my client, so we can have a proper appeal for my client. And it worked well. She filed this lawsuit on a Friday, I think it was, April 16th. And the judge ordered us to serve the city by Tuesday, and then the city to answer by Wednesday, which was great. So here's all the exhibits: the original FOIL request, their acknowledgement of it, our appeal letter, their denial letter. Then I did a request for an advisory opinion from the Committee on Open Government. We provided that opinion. We believe it supports our position. I provided another FOIL response from the City of Cortland, where they provided in 3 days complete, proper response that the City of Syracuse has spent since January. This is May now. They still haven't provided me the data. Cortland was able to do it in 3 days. Let's see. They just gave us my own bar petition in their FOIL response. That's all they wanted to give me. And then we provided the decision or order from the previous lawsuit from 2023, and a letter regarding the decision from the judge. Here's the request for judicial intervention, an addendum, and the actual order to show cause. Order to show cause is interesting because it tells why we needed it expedited, and the judge agreed, and he expedited it. Let's see, affirmation of service. Okay, then we start getting responses from the City of Syracuse, Robert Carpenter, and another Saul Rothenstein or something like that is the other attorney working on it. One guy's I think he's a first-year attorney. The other guy's been around for maybe 5 years, and he did some medical malpractice, I think. Okay, and here's their answer to our petition, and it's all their excuses for why they won't give us this data. And they did a memorandum of law, which was incorrect. They did an affidavit from the assessor, anyway, so on. So ultimately, the judge gave them another week and a half to do a SIR reply, to have additional response to our reply to their answer, and that's here. And like item what they came up with in a week and a half is my YouTube video that talks about it, and they're claiming that I said that they that they have to apply opinions and choose comps to comply with my FOIL request, which they do not. I'm asking for. I'm not asking them to choose anything. I want them to run the report from the existing data, and if there isn't one there, then run the default report. It says so right in my FOIL request. So if anything, that video supports my position. And the previous court case indicated if the city has the ability to extract data from a computer storage system with reasonable effort, they're required to do so, and doing so is not the creation of a record. And so the city's claiming that it is the creation of record. It's already been determined that it isn't. They don't think that they should have to run these reports. And it's been established that running reports is not the creation of record, so they're required to do it. And but also, so ultimately they gave me the comparable sales report, but I didn't get the comparable assessment report, and nor did I get the cost valuation reports. And some of the really small municipalities haven't set up the comparable assessment feature, the comparable assessment report feature, and so they would have to set it up. And my argument is that they can do that with reasonable effort, and they're required to do so. I'm not asking them to create any new data. I'm just asking them to set up the report and run it from the existing data, and they refuse to do that. And the cost valuation reports, that's a no-brainer. You just bring up the property, so cost valuation report, save it to a PDF, email it to me. So that's a no-brainer. They can try to kind of elude the matter regarding the comparable assessment report, but they can set up that report with reasonable effort, and they're required to do so. Doing so is not the creation of a record. So that's that. But anyway, so that's their SIR reply. Basically, all it does is puts up a video that I did 3 years ago, where I explained all of this stuff. So it works for me. I hope the judge listens to the whole thing carefully. And they provide a link to that video. And then my attorney wrote a letter to the judge saying they can't introduce new evidence in the SIR reply. Which I don't care that they did. But if they did, we need an opportunity to respond to it. But anyway, she says that per the procedures of the court, it's not permitted. So we'll see if the judge allows us to respond, or if he disregards their SIR reply, and we will see if he asks for an in-person hearing, or if he's going to decide it based on what you see here. But it's in his hands. Everything's been pled out. We're done, and so it's up to him now. I would love an opportunity to explain this to the judge. But as far as I'm concerned, the law is clear. They have to give me the data. I'm hoping the judge agrees and will order them to provide me with that data. According to Public Officer Law 89.4 CII, if we substantially prevail and the court orders them to provide us with that data, we're entitled to attorney's fees. And so the law says we're entitled to the datum, in our opinion, and the law says we're entitled to attorney's fees. And hopefully the judge agrees. But that's the case. New York State e-file. You can look up all these civil cases in here, and you can look up my previous case, and the whole thing is here. A win, lose, or draw. I'm very happy with with what my attorney did. Amy Levine, she did a great job, and well, we'll see what the judge has to say. This is Mike Franklin, the property tax guy.